Hello everyone, welcome back for some more Let's Play Higurashi. We're continuing Chapter 2, Watanagashi, which... So, I was a bit confused. I admittedly was. Because here's the thing, it's before the Watanagashi, and we're seeing events that didn't happen. And yet, for some reason, my brain is interpreting this as... Like, how can I put this? I was picturing this as an... Like, I don't want to say... Like, I felt like we went forward in time, and for some reason the village is putting on the Watanagashi again, but that wouldn't make sense because the seasons... So I was a bit confused with some of the stuff for the timeline there, which, again, I think is intended, because we don't actually get, like, dates, right? We only get, you know, basic time frames, and so, like, this could have happened before the Watanagashi, but at the same time, it's like, when did this take place? Because it's a little tough to tell, and it's a bit confusing. The other thing that I apparently got super wrong is, no, Mion and Shion absolutely do share a voice actress doing, you know, two very different performances. But, as for if my idea that they switched places is correct, we'll have to see. I do kind of hope that there's... I mean, I get it. The slice of life stuff is really good. It is a good thing because you kind of need that downtime to make the uptime more scary. But I do hope that... I hope it's not going to be like every chapter going forward is going to be like, you know, 8 chapters of shenanigans and then the actual plot starts. I do think that might not be the best pacing. If it's for the first couple chapters, that's okay. I hope it accelerates a bit, right? You've already kind of scared us once. You can't then just go back to normal and be like, you know, wait for it again. So we'll see, we'll see. I mean, I'm still enjoying it, but I do kind of want answers, you know? Let's continue. I might have explained this before, but phys ed at our school is really just an exercise in disorder. After some random warm-ups, the rest of the time is spent doing whatever. You're free to cause a ruckus or just fall asleep. There very much is. Now, does anyone check for it? No. Oh yeah, no. It's very outlined. It's very specific with what you need to teach. Sorry, the word curriculum is too much for your little gremlin brain. We're doing the whole like, we're out in the country, we don't need no rules like that, we just need like, no joke. I have a family member who teaches in the country, and they'll be like, yeah, by the way, don't have any classes on these days because that's the days when the potatoes are ready to be harvested, so like no students will be there. That's crazy. I mean, to be fair, you guys do get way more physical education than the actual city kids, but... Come to think of it, well, they might be right. If we all lined up for a race, there'd be a good chance I'd finish dead last if I didn't start off well. Let's just pray that when a brutal penalty game is at stake, the 100-meter dash isn't a club activity. As I began to sprawl out on top of a pipe, Mion grabbed me by the collar. Okay, no, this is very much Mion. Huh. Good grief. Which means, is it gonna start again? What's the game today, Mion? Now that this is happening, taking a nap is impossible. Not just that. With this sleep-deprived head of mine, I'm as good as mincemeat. I have to get my brain into gear. That's good, because then you can determine the game itself. you know, what level of quality should it be? Oh, whoops, I forgot. I can't press the space bar to advance the text, which I kind of love that, because then I can give my right hand a break. Because, you know, I'm going to be honest, I hate mouse. I think it's the least comfortable thing ever, and even just clicking to advance kind of gets the wrist hurting after a while. Oh boy. She began to announce the cruel penalty game with a grand spinning flourish. But before she could do that... Oh, okay. Of all the people, it was Rika-chan announcing her non-participation. Huh. Even rare events do eventually occur. Losing her timing, Mion spun like a top as she tumbled to the ground. That's a noise. Mm-hmm. That's right. Okay. Because, I don't know, I felt like everything in Chapter 1 was a straight line of, like, timing. I thought it was all right next to each other, but no, I guess there's time in between. Hey, that's good. Although I'm sure if we were tired, they would be like, no, we're doing this. When Mion announced that today's club activity was cancelled, Rika-chan and Satoko headed off behind the school building. Only I was left alone, completely clueless as to what everybody was talking about. So, like, were we not taught about the Watanagashi before this, though? So that's why it's confusing. Yeah, like, weren't we taught this? Yeah, right? Huh? Come to think of it, I have a feeling Mom did say something about it during dinner the other day. Okay, so yeah, June.
なるほどな。しかし綿流しってのは変わった名称だな。あれか？灯籠流しみたいに何かを供養して川に流すのか？お、さすがはケイちゃん。察しがいいね。綿流しはね。名前の通り綿を流す。
Oh, okay. Okay, so it is cotton drift. That's what Watanagashi means. Okay. That's nice that they put that in there, even if that's not in the, like, you know, the voice. It's still good to know. Okay. Oh, it's what watate is cotton? Okay. Did you know that they leave ibuprofen in front of Chow Chow's grave? Like the Chinese warlord? Because he got migraines? Could you imagine if Chow Chow got, like, ibuprofen during the Three Kingdoms? He would have won. It's as simple as that. Mion tilted her head pensively.
言われなんてほど難しいのはないと思うな。この辺って冬の寒さはかなり厳しいからね。布団とか斑点とかの防寒具を特に大切にしたからじゃないかな。
Yeah, I got an alert on my phone today that says it'll feel like 47 degrees, so the idea of a cold winter sounds lovely right about now.
ああ、つまり冬の間お世話になった布団に感謝しようってわけだ。で、巫女さんが供養をして最後に川に流すわけか。それが綿流しってわけだろ。
Mion and Rena indicated that I had the correct answer with a round of applause.
でね、その供養をする巫女さんの役がリカちゃんなの。
へえ、リカちゃんが巫女なんだ。言われてみればリカちゃんって どことなく神秘的な雰囲気あるよな。
She does have that long dark hair, which kind of seems to indicate something to do with it. But then again, this is the world of multicolored hair. But even okay, but that is a thing, right? I feel like shrine maidens always got like that long dark hair, even in a world where you got different hair colors. You know, it's kind of a strange thing, you know, when you think about it.
だよねだよね。リカちゃんの巫女さん姿ってね、はうかわいいんだよ。
It certainly does seem like it would suit her. Yeah, it might be cute.
ようやく話が見えてきたぞ。リカちゃんの言う特訓ってのはこの巫女さん役の練習なわけだな。
そういうこと。巫女さんが布団をお祓いする一連のセレモニーを奉納演舞って呼ぶんだけどね。それの練習なんだよ。結構大変なんだなこれが。
巫女さんはね、祭事用の大きな桑を持って演舞をするんだけど、それがね、リカちゃんにはすっごく重いらしいの。
I hate how I can't look at the word. Like, I know it's a farming implement, but I can't look at that word without wanting to make some type of joke. Usually involving your mother, but, you know, I really
リ
shouldn't.
カちゃんってちっちゃいもんな。その重いクワってどのくらい重いんだ？
Hold it in, man. Hold it in.
かなり重いらしいよ。リカちゃんは餅つき用のキネで練習してるくらいだから。
Wait a minute. That's way too heavy. Yeah, mochi mallets are crazy. Forget about Rika-chan. That'd be rough even for me.
祭事用の神聖なクワだからね。
I'm dying right
間
now.
違って落としちゃったら大変らしいし。
まあ年に一度のお勤めだからね。私たちは陰ながら応援するしかないね。大丈夫。去年もちゃんとやり遂げたんだから。
Yeah.
そっか。じゃあさ、せめて応援してやろうぜ。それくらいならいいだろう。
I was rather curious about how exactly she practiced. Mion laughed as she shook her head.
ほっといてあげなよ。ケイちゃんが来たらリカちゃんは可愛くなっちゃうから特訓ができなくなるよ。
Yeah, it feels like a distraction. Hmm? I didn't quite understand what Mion was
リ
saying.
カちゃんはね、努力とかそういうのを人に見せるのが好きじゃないの。ね、そっとしておいてあげて。
Even the always cool and aloof Rika-chan has times where she sweats while giving it her all. Because she was always so well put together, she didn't want people to see an ungainly side of her. It's not like I couldn't understand that
俺
feeling.
にできるのは成功を祈ることだけってことか。頑張れフルでリカ応援してるから。
Well then, I climbed onto the pipe and plopped down on my side.
フレーフレーリカちゃん、さらに応援の電波を高めるためこれより瞑想状
My
態
man
に入
found
る。
a way to get his sleep in. There, wow, that was fast.
よく寝るわけか。
I love Manzai comedy. Well, kind of. I don't know if I could call Mion the straight man in this situation. The lackadaisical noontime ended up giving way to mind-numbing afternoon classes. Rebounding from yesterday's hunger, I ate too much for lunch today, leaving me in a horrible condition.
さすがに食いすぎた。
Your boy out here looking like ogre cap.
午後の授業は答える。
ケイチくん、今日はなんだかすごい食欲だったもんね。
Oh, to be young again, and just to be able to gorge on food.
基本的にいつも大食いだけどさ、今日はなんか格別だったね。
昨日は俺昼飯抜きだったろ。そのひもじさが染みついちゃってさ、今度は逆にいくら食っても食欲が底なしっていうか。
わかるよわかるよ。しかしケイちゃんってさ、いつもお弁当きれいに食べるよね。
That's how I was raised. Because if I didn't, I'd get reprimanded. Maybe there's a reason I had to learn to deal with not finishing my food.
ご飯一粒も残さないっていうか。
Yep. Every last remaining piece on your plate is one potential reprimanding.
食べ物ってのは作ってくれた人に感謝して食べるもんだぜ。
Oh, you're coming from a more altruistic
残
place.
したら苦労して作ってくれた人に失礼だろ。
Yeah, I was just beat. Hearing that, Mion's eyes momentarily widened in surprise, followed by a cool laugh.
ケイちゃんってさ、ぱっと見ワイルドでいい加減そうなんだけど、結構律儀だよね。しつけがいいというか。
あ、うん、それはレナも思うな。ケイチくんって 見かけよりずっと優しい人だよ。
From the little bit I've seen of him, he does look like a real delinquent. Both of them are probably trying to compliment me, but I had a strange feeling I wasn't being complimented at all.
そんなことないって。見かけと中身は大違いってそう言いたいんだよ。
それが褒めてねって言ってんだよ。
こら、園崎さん、前原くん、授業中ですよ。園崎さんはどこまで進みましたか？ノートを持ってきてください。
Startled, Mion vocalized a rather easy to understand utterance. She was so enthralled in the conversation, she had stopped working completely.
まあそこそこに。さっきから全然進んでないじゃないですか。最上級生なんだからもっとしっかりしないといけませんよ。
That Mion looks like she's getting lectured. Poor bastard.
人は見かけによらないっていうことだね。
I feel like that's a thesis for this
む
game.
しろ見かけとは逆が誠かもしれないよ。
Okay.
面白いこと言うじゃねえか。
Responding to Rena's seemingly profound statement, I turned my gaze to where Satoko was happily studying together with Rika-chan, and you just see her just like you know, there's Rika writing like very nice fancy notes, and you see Satoko just like full fist gripping a crayon and just like all over the page. Like, good job, Satoko. You're trying your best. That page will be every color
あ
soon.
の生意気盛りのサトコも実は見かけとは逆にすげえ塩らしいってのかよ。
I went by what Rena literally said, then that would be the case. I could hardly imagine Satoko being meek and gentle like a girl in some fairy
最
tale.
近はあんな感じだけど、ちょっと前までは違ったんだよ。すごい甘えん坊で、いつも。さとこちゃんには内緒ね。
あのサトコが甘えん坊？
Yeah, I can't imagine her not going, oh, For Satoko to play coy, I think that would have to be part of some calculated plot. Even if she was to hide behind someone, I wouldn't think it was because she was attached to them. Since it came up, I tried imagining a gentle and coquettish Satoko. Oh boy. What's this gonna be like in your mind?
おい、サトコ。
なんですの、お兄様。
Oh boy. Satoko smiled cutely and walked towards me. By the way, for every 3 steps Satoko took, for some reason I took 3 steps away.
お兄様、なんで逃げますの？
すまん、サトコ。
He's like, I can't deal with
お前
this.
が愛想笑いして近づいて
Yeah, no, he's like, I can't do
何
this.
かの罠のような気がするんだよ。
Bro is trying to leave his fantasy.
お兄様の意地悪。
ごめん。別に悪気があったわけじゃないんだ。
The weeping Satoko came closer to me. I'm a sucker for tears. That's weird to say. I guess not. Click. Clank. Did we step on a mine? Oh no, where's a bear trap? My leg be... Boy, if this played any different music, this would be very different. My leg was being clamped down on by a jagged metal teeth. Oh, there we go. There we go.
かかりましたわね。続けていきますわよ。
Satoko raised her right arm triumphantly, and traps began to trigger one after the other. Suddenly, the wall sprang forward, throwing me 3 blocks away. Oh my god, what is this? Spider-Man Miles Morales? And there I saw a giant metal ball covered in spikes hurtling towards me. On top of that, in the direction the ball would knock me was a giant guillotine. No, this is the Deception
よ
series.
くわかんないけど、ケイチくん、今すっごく突拍子もない想像してなかった？
Rena, I assure you whatever you think I'm thinking, it's 500 times more ludicrous.
いや、別に。全然してないぞ。
嘘だ。トゲ付き鉄球に潰されるって顔してたよ。
Oh god, she called us out. How could my expression convey what I was thinking like that?
すまん。塩らしいサトコの想像ってのはかなり無理がある。今度体調がいい時に再トライしてみるよ。
Next, I look over at Rika-chan, who's working diligently on some kanji drills. Oh. God. Is that like learning like handwriting in school? Where like it's a thing that was taught at this time, but like you go to modern days and like do they teach kanji still? I feel like it's super not needed. In contrast to Satoko, her default state was meek and gentle. If Rika-chan came at me saying, "Oni-sama," I'd hug her. I shouldn't give people those voice clips tightly. I could get used to that. Boy, can I just say, like, between all the Nasuverse stuff, like, I've played some games with some real freak MCs. I think Keiichi's #1. And, like, it's funny because he's not a murderer. I find myself looking at, like, you know, Emiya Shiro and his views on women, or, you know, Shiki Tono and his view on cutting up people, and I'm like, I understand your point of view more. Keiichi, I'm just like, oh, you're just a... I mean, mind you, this guy's the only actual, like, child compared to the others. But still, it's like, man, you're a right piece of work. But it's kind of like watching a fun train wreck. Like, where I don't actually feel as bad about stuff happening to him. I'm kind of like, yeah, let it happen, you know?
ごめん。じゃあ、リカちゃんはどうだよ。あれも見かけによらないってのかよ。
Saying that out loud, I felt a tinge of doubt. Was Rika-chan really all sweet? Despite her appearance, she was really quite sly. Sweetly, how do you put it, evading things deftly.
確かにリカちゃんはただ可愛い
No,
だけじゃない気がする。
there's 100% more to her that we don't know.
確かに見かけによらない。
Yeah. I couldn't exactly put what I was imagining into words, but Rena managed to say what I wanted to. She turned to me with an impish look in her eyes, like she was saying, you shouldn't say something like
リ
that.
カちゃんはきっと大きくなったらね、すっごい美人になって男の人を振り回す小悪魔のような女性になるんじゃないかなって思
That
う
wasn't where I
な。
was going with it, but okay.
そういうのかっこよくない？
Rena said that lightheartedly, but I, as a man, couldn't laugh at that. The scary part about that was it felt like it could be true. Noticing my gaze, Rika-chan turned towards me and let loose with an angelic smile. Both Ren and I, feeling that it was directed towards us personally, had our hearts skip a beat.
かわいいね。
レナ、鼻血。
Appearances can be deceiving, huh? Well, then what about our dear leader Mion? I stared at her as she tried to weasel her way out of her scolding by the teacher. By Rena's theory, that unrefined, calculating, conniving Mion also had a side of her that belied appearances.
じゃあなんだよ。あのミオンも見かけによらず、実はいいやつだって言いたいのかよ。
みーちゃんはいい人だよ。
あ、まあそりゃそうだけどさ。
So that means she's an evil person.
そういう意味じゃなくて、その。
ケイチくんの言いたい意味。わかるよ。
Catching on that I was struggling to express my feelings as words, Rena smiled even more
わ
brightly.
かるって何がだよ。
みーちゃんって不思議でしょ？女の子なんだけど男の子みたいっていうか。
Well, that's right. Mion was more than aware that she was a girl, but it was exactly as Rena said. When Mion livened up the mood, it wasn't as though she felt like a guy or girl specifically, but a friend of the same gender.
あいつが男だったらきっと意気投合するだろうな。で、そりゃ今と同じか。
でもね、そんなみーちゃんも本当はすっごく女の子らしいんだよ。
レナ、お前ミオンにいくらもらったんだよ。
it's kind of funny.
違うの。もうちゃんとした話をしてるんだよ。
Rena began to pout. Now probably wasn't the right time to joke
み
around.
ーちゃんは部活の部長さんだからみんなのリーダーとして頑張ってるけど。
And unfortunately, that is something that, at this time, would have to be a very masculine role just because of society, you know?
本当はとっても可愛い女の子なんだよ。それ特にケイチくんには忘れてほしくないな。
Why us specifically? Rena's gaze focused off in the distance, beyond where Mion was. That Mion that I met at Angel Mort was unimaginably different to the Mion that I normally knew. Flustered and hesitant from the unfamiliar job, it was a far cry from the brash and confident Mion. Even though she had to hurry to work, she went through all the trouble to bring me food when I was on the brink of starvation. And she did so not as Mion, but as Shion. What exactly was Shion to Mion? What kind of person was Mion exactly?
多分 圭一くんには想像つかないと思うな。
As if to say it was our little secret, Rena held her finger to her lips as she giggled. Mion, finally free from the teacher's preaching, returned to her seat, cradling her head to hide her embarrassment.
チェ、おじさんはね、人生に必要な勉強は小学校までで十分だと思ってんだよ。
That's really, really sad. Saying that, she plopped down into her seat violently. Mion was actually really feminine, right? I wonder if I could meet Shion again. I wanted to talk to her again. Clang clang! The principal waved around the bell that served as the school chime. The teacher rushed back to the blackboard and began to list everybody's homework assignments.
今日は宿題が結構出そうだね。頑張らないと。
じゃあさ、レナもってことか？
何がかな？
人は見かけによらないって話。
Oh.
レナもってことになるのか？
Oh boy.
圭一くんにはレナのことどう見えるかな？
The Rena Ryugu I knew sometimes took things too far, but was generally a kind and gentle, ideal girl.
本当にだったら嬉しいかな？
She was the opposite of what she seemed. That would make her...
逆なのだとしたら？
Just try saying it. I won't be mad. That's what I felt like she meant.
レナは
レナは？
逆になってもレナだよ。
Huh.
だろ？
I gotta say, with the music stopped and just the shrill cry of the Higurashi, I'm getting a bit of that nervous feeling again. This question shouldn't have been so nerve-wracking to answer. Maybe it was because the person in question was staring at me, but even saying that took a strange amount of effort.
ずるいな、圭一くん。そんな言い方されちゃったら気になっちゃうよ。
Perhaps unable to endure my silence, Rena's face began to burn red with embarrassment.
レナ、ケイちゃん、帰ろ帰ろ。
Mion walked over and started getting ready to go home. Whenever school is over, she really does get noticeably more energetic. It was the same relaxing walk home as always. Digging around my pocket on a whim, I noticed something that should have been there was missing.
どうしたの、ケイちゃん？
Oh, did we forget our keys?
いつも持ってるはずの
Oh
うちの鍵
God.
がないんだよ。参ったな。どこにやっちゃったかな。
Well, that sucks.
親はいるから今日はいいけど、
Yeah,
まずいよな。
that's also really scary.
それは困るね。忘れてきたの？それとも落としちゃったのかな？
Which one was it? Did I take it with me this morning in the first place?
ケイちゃん、その鍵の特徴は？
キーホルダーがついてる。
That doesn't really make it stand out. I feel like most people's keys are on keychains.
昔夏休みの宿題で作らされた
Oh,
やつ。
okay. Right.
青いオットセイなんだよ。
Right, the blue fur seal, right.
あれ？目をつぶった感じでお昼寝してるみたいなやつ？
なんで知ってるんだよ。そうそう、それだよ。
Mion looked away and began to whistle. Did you steal my keys?
さあ、おとといケイちゃん、エンジェルモートに食事に行ったでしょ。
Oh, we left it there.
その晩さ、お店で鍵の落とし物があったんだよ。それにオットセイのキーホルダーがついてた。
As she said that, she suddenly grew flustered and added that Shion had told her about it.
あの時に落としちゃったのか。
でも見つかっ
Yeah,
て
no,
よかったね。
that's good.
お店がきっと預かってくれてるよ。
But that also means we have to go back.
行ってみなよ。シオンの顔、私と同じだからわかるでしょ。
That was a rather unexpected development. Once again, I had no choice but to go and meet with Shion. But I also had to thank her for the bento from yesterday. Besides, taking some time and chatting with this other side of Mion might be interesting. Half jokingly, I began to think about things like this.
そうだな。エンジェルモートだっけ？シオンの店に行って鍵を返してもらって。
We went by car last
ついで
time,
に
so
お
it's
茶
gonna
でも
be
飲
a
んで
bit.
優雅に過ごすってのも悪くないな。
Oh, spot a tea? Oi. We having a cuppa? I started watching that, cultural exchange with a Game Center girl anime, which is basically like a British girl moves to Japan and goes to a game center to learn Japanese, and she speaks English. And like they have Japanese actors speaking British English, and it's so funny hearing them use this terminology. It's really funny. I wouldn't really recommend that anime, but at least watch a compilation of the scenes for the, you know, having the Japanese actors speak English, because that's kind of fun. They are also dubbing it, and to get around that, they basically give the British girl such a thick British accent that the Japanese characters can't understand them. It's kind of funny. That's a funny way of going about it. It's like what Yokai Watch 3 did.
なんだか英国紳士みたいだね。
Yeah, well, there we go. Okay, that was intentional.
ケイちゃんには似合わないかも。
ひょっとしてそのお店かな。みーちゃんの妹の働いてるお店は。
ああ、なんならレナも一緒に行くから。
Oh my god, wait. We get to see someone to verify her existence.
ちょっと残念だけど、今日はお父さんと約束があるから、またの機会にするね。
Reddit seemed pretty disappointed about having to miss such a great opportunity.
双子だそうだけど、そんなにそっくりなのかな。
Their hair is quite different.
間違えるくらい？
ああ、そっくりだ。
Nah, I don't know. I feel like no matter the art style, there's enough different you can tell at a glance who's who, right?
外見だけはそっくりだ。中身はミオンと違っておしとやかで実に可愛らしいのにな。
In response to my teasing, Mion pouted and began to argue with me. I couldn't help but burst out laughing at Mion's little farce. After all, they weren't just identical, they were the same person. We're so stupid. We're so stupid. After going home, I changed my clothes and dug my bike out of the garage. Just thinking I would be able to meet Shion again gave me a mysterious tingling feeling. Shion, a name for a different kind of Mion. Which is a sentence I never thought I'd say. She was a mysterious and ridiculous person, believing she had fooled everyone like that. I noticed that I was pedaling along quite happily. Could it be that I was looking forward to meeting Shion? I felt a sense of giddy anticipation, like I was heading towards a new friend's house for the first time. What Rena said about Mion actually being really feminine sprang to mind once again. That guilt from spying on the other side of Mion, the self-consciousness from being the only one that knew about that side, these feelings mixed together. That was Shion for you. Mion's little twin sister. Until she felt like coming out and admitting she was Mion, it was fine to call her Shion, right? Mion might be having some fun by acting out a different persona. As I reached the top of the steep hill, the horizon expanded before me. I was almost at the station. Oh my god, I just realized something. We were talking about how appearances might be deceiving. Is that saying that Shion is actually like... That's interesting. We'll have to see. The last time I wasn't embarrassed since I was here with Dad, but this time I was alone. Well, I was strangely self-conscious about it. Meet Shion, get my key back. That was all this task was supposed to be. If I dawdled around like this, maybe Shion would find me before she headed in for work. Hey, what are you doing, Keiichi Maibara? You're just here to get your key back, you know? It's not like you're some love-struck schoolboy here to hand over a love letter. Oh, the thoughts inside my head were slowly turning into a jumbled mess. Came to the realization that I was downright giddy. That's why, well, for just a bit, just a little tiny bit, I got a little carried away and did something really stupid, which is saying something when you're us. Right? When you're Keiichi Maibara, that's a lot, you know, to say you're stupid. Oh boy. Why? I kicked over a parked motorcycle that was blocking the side. Well, okay. It was in the way, sure, but there was absolutely no need for me to kick it. Buddy, do you have, like, impulse issues? I definitely think I got too carried away. Thunk, clank. Crash. Oh no. As the three bikes toppled one after another like dominoes, the loud noise they caused snapped me back to my senses. Oh boy. The owners of those three bikes were right there. It looked exactly like what you'd call thugs up to no good, otherwise known as goons. They lifted their heads up in an imposing manner and yelled angrily in a way I'd never heard before. The three of them beelined towards me, their worn-down heels of their thin-soled shoes slapping noisily against the pavement. I could only stare listlessly as if I were watching some far-off event that didn't concern me at all. By the time I realized it, I had been grabbed by my collar and lifted onto my tiptoes. Wow! I love this writing. The three thugs were completely ignoring the rules of grammar. Okay, but the way they spoke was enough to make me tremble. Just like that, my composure drained away. My legs buckled and my throat grew dry enough to crack.
すみません。つい。
ついじゃねえだろ。蹴ったやねえかよ、ボケ。
Oh my god, wait, is this?
ついじゃねえだろ。蹴ったやねえかよ、ボケ。
Is this the guy who voices Bakugo? Sounds like him. I was completely at fault, so there was nothing I could say in my defense. As a result, I was pulled even higher. Can we get much higher?
ちくしょう。塗装ハゲたじゃねえかよ。おあれ。
Oh boy.
手がしたナイスでつもりじゃ。悪いのはてめえなんだぞ、こんな。
Okay, okay, I think we're going a bit crazy with this. Okay, I think you need to calm down. Gurdam. I've never, okay, like the rest of that I get, but I've never heard Gurdam. This is your Gurdam fault. Except that's a bit much. The three of them continued to yell at me. I had no idea what each of them were saying. Getting further enraged that I was only listening while dumbstruck, they grabbed an empty plastic crate from a nearby store and began to repeatedly smash it against a telephone pole. Cracks formed in the crate, plastic shards flying everywhere. Then they slammed it full force into the shuttered storefront. The shutter let out a frighteningly loud noise. Still not satisfied. What are these guys doing? Still not satisfied, they flipped over a case of empty cans, scattering its contents all over the place. This was not normal. It was something you often saw in television or in manga, but I never thought seeing it in person would be this terrifying. I became painfully aware that the safety of civilized society was only held up by such a frail concept as morals. My knees clattered together noisily. Static began to pepper my vision. This is what you would call absolute terror. This is actually, like, kind of scary. There was nothing I could do to stop this frightening spectacle of violence. I could only pray for help. The fear I felt was just too much. Would somebody help me? My gaze floundered about the surrounding area. I was surrounded by these three hoodlums. No way would there be a passerby brave enough to intervene. Maybe this is what you call reaping what you sow. If I were a passerby, there'd be no doubt that I'd ignore what was going on. So this was somewhat of cosmic retribution. Please, you can't say Fukin. It makes them sound some form of from the British Isles, and I don't know which. You know? Angry yelling loud enough to rattle my eardrums spewed forth right in front of my face. My waning consciousness was forcefully dragged back to the forefront. The thug had cocked back his free hand and twisted his body, when suddenly a metallic taste filtered through the back of my throat. A chill ran down my spine like a jolt of electricity. Seeing what was going to happen next, I squeezed my eyes shut as tightly as possible and grit my teeth.
やかましいよクソボケどもが。
Oh? Well, that was weird. My mic just muted for some reason, and I legitimately have no idea why. I was going, oh, is that? And okay.
私の目の黒いうちに失せな。
Is this Shion? That voice was a short distance away. Still holding me. So, okay, yeah, no, then Shion is secretly quite masculine. That's what we're gonna get at, right? Still holding me by the collar, the three thugs spun around to look behind them. Yo, yeah! See, okay, no. The way they speak, like, they sound like, okay, you know, where is it? Well, fucking say something, I'll fucking stab you. The fuck you say, right? Like, that's what you could read it as. Standing there was Shion. I mean, Mion. She stood. Okay, I'll say this sprite does look more like Mion. She stood there, displaying an imposing stature that I'd never seen before. She didn't have the same look on her face as she did when we were playing around during club. Those were the eyes that would instill fear in anyone who looked upon them. The eyes of a raptor. Also, that's like the best look we've got of us, huh? We do just look like a dude, huh? They were the epitome of terror. At the same time, they were the most reassuring things in the world. Wow. Mion, without an ounce of fear, laid down her ultimatum. Of course, there was no way those three wouldn't go absolutely berserk. The situation instantly turned explosively dangerous. Oh, you fucking bitch! I'll fucking bash your head in, right? Like, that's how you read it. Also, wait, did we even hear him? Did he even make the noise? Yeah, no, those are just grunts. That's not language. Stop it, Mion. These guys are like rabid dogs. No amount of bluffing will work.
Mion, 危ないから早く。
I knew what I was saying was pathetic, but I couldn't let Mion get involved in this. No matter how you looked at it, Mion was only bluffing. But did Mion even know the meaning of the word bluff? However, the reason behind everything soon became apparent. They were slowly increasing. Oh no! They were slowly increasing in number, little by little. At first, it was only businessmen on their way home stopping to take a look. Then it was housewives in the middle of shopping taking a gander. Next, what seemed like the owner of some store showed up, and it was pretty clear he wasn't just looking. Around Mion. Oh, I thought they meant there was gang members gathering. Around Mion, there was already about 7 people gathered. It felt different than people coming out to support a friend. If I had to say why, it was because the group that gathered was very diverse in age and gender. Oh, aren't you tired of DI hires? I mean, ugh. The 3 thugs seemed to slowly realize that there was something strange about the situation. Oh, who the hell are these guys? Behind them, at some point, 4 or more people of differing clothes and age had gathered. I mean, I would assume most people are of differing clothes, but... A girl who looked to be in middle school, a man wearing a bakery apron, an old lady in a house-cleaning smock. More and more, people of various ages. Their gazes, comparable to Mion's, were of hostility, of intimidation. Before I realized it, over 10 people had formed a ring around us. At that moment, 5 elementary schoolers ran in and joined the circle, because they're gonna do a lot. There were some familiar faces. Some of our classmates. Why are they out here? Then these people were residents of Hinamizawa? Why? We're way out in Okonomiya, right? More and more... Or no, this is past the station. This is towards it. Okay. More and more people from Hinamizawa gathered around. In obvious contrast... No, we are in Okonomiya. Oh, yeah, no. So wait, what? Huh? In obvious contrast, the residents of Okonomiya were passing by as quickly as possible. What is going on? Who the fuck are you guys? Go the fuck away! The group surrounding us had already swelled to around 20 people. Okay, no, does Shion just have a stand? This is a stand. And the stand is called the Village People. Completely encircled, the faces of the 10 thugs began to show the first signs of panic. Nobody spoke a word, Mion included. That made everything completely unnatural, and depending on which side you were on, completely terrifying. Only the thugs' voices echoed out like they were screaming. Somebody took a step forward, closing the gap between them. As they did, everybody else took a step forward, shrinking the circle. The hoodlums went pale as they were pushed together, back to back, while still yelling angrily. They were trying to string together vulgarities, but for some reason it sounded like they were crying out for help.
はいはいはいはい。どうしたのかなどうしたのかな
Are we really being hit with the, well, what's all this then? Right? Like, are we gonna see a cop appear and he's gonna, It was sudden. A solid, oh my god, it literally is. Oh, the Bobby's here! It's the Bobby! It was sudden. A solidly built officer cut his way through the crowd. At some point, 2 police cars had arrived. Some passerby had undoubtedly called for them. Several burly officers appeared from inside the second vehicle, and they just all step out, and each of them, well, what's all this then? What's all this then, right?
おまわりさん、いいところに来ました。恐喝の現行犯です。
Oh, they're extortionists.
捕まえてください。
Oh, wait, no. Are they? Because, I mean, we did something to legitimately get them angry.
んだこれ気が悪いだろ
Mion, returning to her usual self, was nonchalantly pointing out the hoodlums to the police. Of course, the thugs were furious. Now that it had come to this, there was nothing they could do. It was their loss.
分かったからちょっとおいでいいから
The officers handcuffed the thugs and dragged them towards the patrol cars.
んだよ話せよ俺らが被害者なんだよ聞いてんのかチキショ
No matter how much of a ruckus they caused, the officers paid no heed. In the blink of an eye, they were crammed inside the 2 vehicles. They could still be heard yelling while inside the police cars, but what they were saying was no longer intelligible, even less so than normal.
大丈夫ですか
Huh.
お怪我ありませんか
Huh. He was... Okay, you don't recognize him, so what's going on? He was probably a detective. The man leading the police peered at my face.
別に。
それは不幸中の幸いでした。では、良いお年を。
Have a good year? Huh. The portly man, after taking a quick look around, addressed the crowd.
市民の皆さんの迅速な通報に感謝します。
See, now this is, there's, nah, this is not,
住民の皆さんの連帯のおかげで、今日素晴らしいことです。
お仕事ご苦労様です。大石刑事殿。
and you fully know him.
住民を代表して日頃の公務に感謝いたします。一家の刑事がわざわざこんなところまでおいでくださるとは光栄の極みです。
The way Shion talked didn't have a very pleasant tone.
偶然ですよ。県警の帰り道に無線連絡が入りましてね。寄り道したわけです。
お仕事頑張ってください。今後のご活躍を切に祈ってお
Wow,
ります。
that is the most passive-aggressive thing I've ever heard.
いえいえ。でも、怪我人が出なくて本当に良かったです。おいさん、オーケーっす。行きましょう。ではでは、良いお年を。
Okay, no, it wasn't just us he said that to. That's just his catchphrase, I guess.
失礼。道を開けてもらえますかな。
The detective named Oishi, again, the fact that we, don't recognize him is concerning. After jovially making pleasantries, lumbered over to the waiting police car. It quickly set off, disappearing down the city street. It was over so quickly. So quickly I was dumbstruck. I didn't even get to ask the officer what was going on. It was like they came here quickly to disperse the mob before any trouble could start. After making sure the police cars had left, Mion snapped her fingers sharply. And is everyone going to disperse?
おっしゃ、一丁上がりだね。おととい来やがれっての。
That was the signal. The tension melted away in an instant as everybody began smiling. Oh my god, no, she has a stand. A middle-aged man helped me up.
大丈夫かい
Oh, no, this is scary. Why do they all know my name?
今度からは喧嘩は相手を選んでやりな。
No, this is scary.
別に喧嘩ってわけじゃ。
We don't recognize him, but he recognizes us by name. What is going on?
頭とかぶつけてるならレントゲンを取っておいた方がいいわよ。
An older lady I didn't know the name of was concerned about my injury.
たまたま駅前で人通りの多い時間だったからこれだけ集まれたけど、次からは気をつけるんだよ。最近の町もんは物騒なんだから。はあ、まったく。
I was even warned by the old lady in the smock. As Shion finished applauding the dispersing group for their efforts, she strode over to me.
いやいや、ケイちゃんもやるじゃない。でも私も相手を選んだ方がいいと思いますけどね。
サンキューな、ミオン。助かったよ。
だから私、シオン。
She made a troubled expression as she turned her gaze downward, blushing in embarrassment.
お姉に聞いてますよ。オットセイの鍵。あれ、ケイちゃんのですって？
あ、うん、そうだった。これからお店に行こうとしてたんだった。
それで浮かれてて、あんな変なのに絡まれちゃってたんですか？
This is a terrifying face. Let me check something. Oh wait, you close the menu? Yeah, those are very those are okay, no, these are three different expressions. This is evil. This is kind of like smug. And this is like your awesome smiley. Those are entirely different expressions. That's crazy. Cause I was gonna say, is this a spoiler for her being like super evil at a point because we're seeing the sprite now? But like, no, because apparently it doesn't matter. They're all different. That was my turn for my face to go red. I didn't want to admit it, but that she was spot on.
でもシオンのおかげで助かった。
お礼はいらないですよ。だからケイちゃんも他の人がいじめられてるのを見つけたらきっと助けてあげてください。私たちそういうのをとても大切にするから。
Okay, interesting. I was well versed in that sense of camaraderie, but the way I was rescued just now, something seemed a little off about that. While I was helped out, it was honestly to a disturbing degree.
お店来ますよね。疲れちゃっただろうから一服しません？おごりますよ。
Seems like she caught the glimmer of suspicion in my eyes. Without waiting for my answer, Shion began walking. Yeah, I'll have the I don't know what they have at Denny's. Do they have a Grand Slam? Is that a thing? I've been to Denny's once in my life. I'm not a breakfast person. After cooling off a bit inside the restaurant, little by little I realized, well, I was still on edge. There were spots here and there on my body that hurt, probably because I had been so stiff with nervousness. Shion, who had changed into her uniform, brought over 2 glasses of iced coffee.
はいこれ。おごりのアイスコーヒー。
Nice. I love iced
レジ
coffee.
でこのチケット渡せば無料になりますからね。
Nice. My patheticness really knew no bounds. But since she went through the trouble, might as well take her up on the offer. Even though it started out as such a lovely day, I had to get carried away and do that stupid thing. I'd completely ruined
で
it.
も本当にさ、さっきのは助かったよ。シオンが本当に頼もしく見えた。
私だって怖かったですよ。でも他ならぬケイちゃんのピンチだし、勇気出して頑張りましたってことです。
Well, a little embarrassed by what she just said, Shion made a show of folding. Okay, well, a little embarrassed by what she just said, Shion made a show of folding her arms
シ
boldly.
オン、本当にありがとうな。
I was thanking Shion, but I really wanted to thank Mion. Mion, really
ほ
thank
ら
you.
ほら、もう元気出してくださいよ。もしも恩義を感じるなら、今度はケイちゃんが他の誰かのために戦ってくださいね。例えば、私がピンチになったら、
Okay, that's important.
きっと助けに来てくださいよ。
Okay. All right, Yumizuka.
ああ、もちろんだ。約束する。
絶対ですからね。
Taking advantage of my words, she seemed happy about my
ピン
promise.
チになったら、ケイちゃんが助けに来てくれるのか。早くピンチにならないかな。あ、 やっと笑ってくれた。
She said as she smiled herself, poking me in the cheek. Oh my
元気
god.
のないケイちゃんなんて偽物もいいとこです。
As a what?
ほら笑って笑って。
くすぐったいってば。やめ。
He is such an ugly laugh. Thanks to Shion's meddling, I finally cheered up a little. All the muscles in my body that had stiffened because of the incident finally began to relax a little.
元気出たらお腹とか空いてこないです。私お腹空いちゃいましたからホ
Oh
ッ
my
トケーキ
god,
と
we
か
are
食べ
at
たいんです
Denny's,
けど。
aren't we? We're literally at Denny's.
ケイちゃんも食べます？
I wanted to show a little restraint, but, well, restraint really wasn't my thing. That's why I replied without any.
うまいんだろうな。俺ホットケーキはかなりうるさいぜ。
安心してください。うちのホットケーキはかなり評判いいですから。
Shion ordered some pancakes from a nearby waitress. An employee ordering from another employee seems kind of
おい
weird.
おい、そういえばシオン、今バイト
Yeah,
中じゃないのか。
are you allowed to do
俺とず
this?
っと話をして。
おじさんにね、私が不良に絡まれてるところを
okay.
ケイちゃんが助けてくれ
Right,
た
I
って
forgot
言
you
った
got
ら、
the family
だ
bonus.
から店長公認で OK です。
それ事実と正反対だぞ。いいのかな。
You know, sometimes I drink coffee in my like watch what happens when I drink coffee. I bring it to my mouth and oh that's the good stuff. I modified my things so that now my feet don't move around, but that just means that all I'm doing is I'm bringing my coffee cup to my mouth. And it just destroys my body. It's terrifying. I'm not going to edit in the bone breaking every time, because while that's fun, searching for that in the timeline is not easy.
全然いいのです。
By the time the pancakes arrived, we had entered into a relaxed conversation. As the two of us ate pancakes, we livened up the mood with some chit-chat about what was on TV, celebrities, that kind of thing. Like, oh my god, did you hear about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? Hobbies, food, really nothing more than idle chit-chat. Talking together like this, I once again became conscious of Shion being a female. Hey now, that's funny talk, Keiichi Maibara. Shion and Mion are the same person. No, they're not, you stupid idiot. If there was anything different between them, it was only whether or not Mion admitted she was Mion. But given that, how come our conversation was this different?
ケイちゃんってお姉のことを女だと思ってないでしょう。
そんなことはないよ。男だったら容赦なくどつき倒してる。
ケイちゃんとお姉が仲がいいのってそういうノンセクシャルな関係にあるって思うんです。
Oh, that's crazy. They use the loan word non-sexual for platonic?
それってなかなかできない羨ましい関係で
That's
すよ。
crazy.
言ってる意味がよくわかんない
I
が。
want to hear that again.
ケイちゃんとお姉が仲がいいのってそういうノンセクシャルな関係に
Yeah,
あるって思
wow,
う。
huh?
まあ確かに女にしとくにはもったいないやつだよな。
あ、ケイちゃん、それ男女差別ですよ。
Hearing the word sexist was cause for introspection. I'm gonna take this screenshot and send it to Kanoku Nasu. What was I prejudiced against Mion and Shion for? Mion was Mion. She was the best friend a guy could have, no reservations, and her head and shoulders above me when it came to club activities. If I had met her 5 years earlier, my life would have probably been a lot more fun. Of this, I had no doubt. And what about Shion? Well, she was Mion's little sister, and it hadn't even been 3 days since we met. Her relationship was much more distant, and the only thread we had in common was that I knew her sister. And for Shion, it was the same. I was somebody she met only 3 days ago because I was a friend of her sister's. The difference between Mion and Shion? Friendliness? Familiarity? Playing around with those unclear thoughts for a while, I'd stop listening to Shion, which is a bad idea when you're in a booth at a restaurant with a girl. Don't do that.
例えばですよ。聞いてます？
なあごめん。聞いてるよ。
例えばですよ。
Okay.
私とお姉が共にピンチで
Oh my god, are you gonna trolley question us?
崖にぶら下がってるとします。
Oh my god.
ケイちゃんはどっちを助けます？どっちか一人だけですよ。
I look straight in the camera and I say, I will save you both. She wasn't saying it to tease me, but had a playful tone behind her voice.
嫌な問題だな。どっちも助けたいけど、それじゃダメなんだろ？
Yeah, okay.
ダメです。
No.
シオンかミオンのどっちかだけです。どっちですか？
Well, if it were Mion, I don't think she'd be in that situation in the first place, as it's something she could easily get out of herself. What about the normal, frail Shion? I guess I'd have no choice.
お姉じゃないですよね。
If Mion and Shion were different people, well, I suppose it would come to that. I couldn't confirm or deny it. She should have been smiling, but her gaze was locked firmly to mine.
つまり、そういうことなんですよ。お姉はそのつまり、あれすみません。なんか自分で言ってて破綻しちゃいました。
What? Shion was trying to talk in a lighthearted manner, but I felt there was something more behind her words. Huh? I'm confused. Was Mion trying to tell me something through Shion? Not being able to put a finger on what exactly it was vexing. Shion, to hide her embarrassment, turned the conversation
それ
around.
よりも、驚きましたか？みんながどんどん集まって。
Yeah, it was a little scary.
そりゃ驚いたよ。レナやサトコが駆けつけてくれるならともかく、あんなに老若男女がいろいろと集まって
Especially
くる
for
んだから
someone
な。
who doesn't live in... Yeah, you don't even live there.
あれ全部ひなみ沢の人なんだろ？
So why? That's weird.
ええ、そうです。ひなみ沢の人はみんな結束してるんですよ。
But you don't live
一
there.
人の敵は全員の敵。日和見なんか誰もしません。結構頼もしい住民性なんですよ。
誰かがいじめられたらみんなで結束してやっつけるわけか。なんだかマフィアとかヤクザみたい
Yeah,
な
right?
結束だな。
そんなこと言っちゃダメですよ。とてもありがたいことなんですから。ケイちゃんもそれに助けられたんですよ。感謝の気持ちを忘れないように。
I half-heartedly agreed. I knew full well I should be appreciative.
ひなみ沢の人たちって本当に仲が良くて結束してるんだな。
昔からの伝統かな。ひなみ沢って昔からいろいろと敗訴の危機に
Yeah,
あ
that
るんで
makes
すよ
sense.
ね。
Small town problem. That's crazy in like the
その
80s.
度に結束して戦って存続を勝ち取ってきたっていう歴史があるんですよ。例えばケイちゃん、ひなみ沢ダム計画って知って
Okay,
ます
so yeah, have you? Hinamizawa Dam Project? Let's see, I feel like I've heard somebody talk about it before. Okay, interesting.
10年くらい
We
前に
kind of heard about it.
突然ここにダムができてひなみ沢が丸ごと水没するって話になったんですよ。
I'm sorry. Oh no, that says food shop? I thought that said food IHOP. I'm like, wow, we're doing all this stuff to not make real restaurants and then IHOP's back there, but no, it says food shop.
あ、そんな話親父かなんかに聞いたことがあるような。でもそれって確か中止になったんだろ？
中止にさせたんですよ。みんなで団結して。だからこれは戦って勝ち取った勝利なんです。
That sounded pretty much like the story I heard. The protest intensified to the point where it was featured in newspapers and magazines. As a result, the plan was suspended.
ダムの話そのものは私が生まれる前からあったらしいんです。
Didn't they say that Mion was at the dam? Didn't they say she was part of it? Am I crazy? Huh. Someone's lying here.
最初は候補地調査とか砂防のための小さいダムとかそんな程度の話だったんですよ。
Why would she lie? And not the police detective. He's the only one we heard that from. Huh. Maybe. But then the cat was let out of the bag. If it were completed, it would have been the biggest dam in Japan. Not just Hinamizawa, but several villages upstream would have been submerged as well. The protests immediately began. Petitions to cancel or relocate the project were drafted and submitted. Okay, so I've learned this is not pronounced diet. Isn't it? I heard this for the first time ever. And, like, I'm gonna Google this, because I heard it said out loud, and I'm like, oh, I've been pronouncing it diet this whole time. Apparently you don't pronounce it. How do you pronounce diet? Political. I'm Googling this. So I want to make sure. Diet in a political context is pronounced, oh, diet, the same way you do for food and drink. Wait, what? I guess I'm wrong. Oh. I guess, you know what? No, I guess I was right, and the person I heard say it was wrong. They called it the diet. They're like the Japanese diet, and I'm like, oh, is that not? No, I guess I was right. Okay, never mind. That's okay. Well, shoot, good to know. Anyways, petition to cancel or relocate the project were drafted and submitted to the Diet. They even went so far as to go to the Ministry of Construction in Tokyo and to hand over the direct appeal to the minister. The previous landowners sued the government, stating there were inconsistencies in the purchase agreement and the transaction should be nullified. Owners of yet unacquired lands split their properties, increasing the number of landowners in order to stifle the project.
土地の買収なんていうお金の問題のうちは可愛かったんです。そのうち土地の強制収用をちらつかせるようになりましたね。
I don't even know what that phrase means.
その頃からです。機動隊とかの暴力行為が目立ち始めたのは。
機動隊って警察だろ？暴力行為なんてするのかよ。
殴りますよ。蹴りますよ。私も殴られたことありますし、この辺だったかな。
Okay, no. So when she said that it started before she was born, but you were still part of it. Okay.
皮が切れちゃったみたいで。
Oh my
血が
god.
すごい出ました。
Saying that Shion indicated her temple by poking at it.
警察とかには？
Wow, okay. Filing a complaint against the riot police for police brutality would seem kind of strange for some reason. Oh, my sweet summer child. Naturally, they wouldn't pay heed to something like that. You wouldn't be able to establish... Oh, well, okay, no, he's saying there's no... Okay, I took that as, well, why would the police do a bad thing? No, he's saying, like, there's no way to prove what just happened. You wouldn't be able to establish proof on who exactly hit you, and they could justify their actions by saying you were interfering with police
うち
duties.
のばっちゃ、劣化のごとく怒り狂いましてね。それからがすごかった。もう全面戦争ですよ。こっちも座り込みで訴えるなんて生っちょろいことなんかしません。ガンガン攻めました。
First, in order to call attention to the government, they filed a temporary injunction in court. Then, in order to get public support, they called in prominent scientists to state that Hinamizawa was a valuable nature preserve. They pressured the prefectural and municipal assembly, saying that the prefectural governor ignored his constituents when he approved the project and demanded his resignation. They completely and thoroughly denounced him. Naturally, in Hinamizawa, a fierce conflict worthy of being called the Damn War began. In order to suppress the police's brutality, they coordinated with the network channels and exposed the violence of the riot squad members to the public. On top of that, they put together a special expose themed around the government repressing the citizens and aired it nationally. It worked wonders. Following that, the SWAT teams had their hands cuffed. Day after day, petitions and demonstrations continued. Propaganda was used to help garner support. The circle of support gradually expanded outwards from Hinamizawa. Either that bore fruit, or that the government had finally decided against it. It was denounced that the dam project was indefinitely suspended just a few years ago.
私たちにできることなら何でもしました。村全部が一丸になって戦ったんです。あの時は必死だったけど、終わった今となってはいい思い出かな。村人たちの連帯感や団結心は今でも消えていないんです。
Shion said that as she focused off into the distance. I felt that those eyes weren't filled with anguish, but rather a sense of pride.
そういう連帯感っていいよな。なかなかないことだよ。世代を超えて地域で団結できるなんて。
私もそう思います。ダム計画は試練だったけど、それを乗り越えて得たものはとても大きいと思いますよ。
The fear I was feeling until just now gradually began to fade. When people began to show up one after another while I was engaging with those thugs, I thought it was frightening. But now I felt from the bottom of my heart that I had been rude. The villagers prepared to defend their homeland to their death. A sense of solidarity that fostered. It might seem impudent to say this, but I was a little jealous. If I had been in Hinamizawa when the protest against the dam was going on, I might have been able to share in that sense of
ケイ
solidarity.
ちゃんは反対運動の時ひなみ沢にいなかったから村みんなにはあるのしっかりと
Interesting. It's very interesting. Two different sort of viewpoints on the village people. I'm not the stand, but you know, the people and what it means to kind of be part of that group.
それはたとえ引っ越してきたばかりのケイちゃんに対してもね
She couldn't have been more right. So many people got together to help me out when I just moved here. Even though they were strangers whose names I didn't know. A hot feeling began welling up inside me. When I lived in the city, I didn't even know my own neighbors. I thought that was natural, but here, that was an absurd and pathetic thing. Even though I thought of them as strangers, all the other villagers viewed me as comrade. Happiness and warmth. I was acutely aware of those feelings as they gradually welled up inside of me.
園崎さん店長がホール入ってほしいそうです
A more senior waitress waved her hand and called over to Shion. Seemed like it was time for work.
はい今入りますすみませんもう仕事しないとまずいみたいです
いいよいいよ、付き合ってくれてありがとな。楽しかったよ。
帰っちゃいます
まあな、飯の時間には戻らないとお袋がうるさいし。
Seemed that Shion had wanted to say something, but she swallowed her words. Like we haven't talked enough, that kind of feeling. Looking at that expression, I regretted saying something that had disappointed Mion like that. I was about to say that I could stay for a little bit longer, but when Shion got up from her
はい
seat,
これこのチケットで払えばホットケーキ代も大丈夫ですから
saying that, she showed me a coupon booklet that she tore out a few sheets and handed them to me.
便利でしょお給料の他にもらえるボーナスチケットなんですよ
That's actually pretty good.
ホットケーキ代くらい払えるよ。
No, take the free pancakes, yeah.
遠慮するなんてケイちゃんらしくないですよ私がお姉だったら喜んでおごられるくせに
Yeah, it's not like she's losing money from this. She said as she laughed, gently stopping me from opening my wallet. Being told so with such an encouraging smile, well, really resounded with me.
園崎さんすみませんレジ入ってくださいあはい今すぐ
Later, today was fun. Saying that, Shion smiled one more time at
あ、
me.
ミオン、今日は本当にありがとうな。この恩は忘れないよ。
そう思うならきっと返してください楽しみにしてますから
After I said that, I realized I mistakenly called her Mion. I didn't know if she realized it or not. Oh. Back home. Lazing around and watching television after dinner was part of my daily routine. Might seem like a waste at first glance, but you could say it was an important time when I was able to accrue knowledge of everything from politics to economics to various trivia. After dinner was valuable time well spent while the brain was at its most supplied with nutrients. That's why we watch Jeopardy every
バ
night.
カバカ、東京タワーの方が高いに決まってるだろ。
Then what, the Sky Tree? Today I tested my knowledge of trivia by watching the weekly quiz show. Sitting in front of the television, I was able to get a lot of the answers right. Oh my god, we're literally watching Jeopardy. But if I were actually up on stage, I'd probably fail miserably.
ケイチ園崎さんから電話よ
あいよ。
Now, which one?
園崎？ミオンか。
It was a little late for her to be calling. I had a bad feeling about this. I had a hunch it was something to do with club activities. She was probably going to inform me about what we were doing tomorrow. This was Mion we were talking about. She even might go so far to say we're doing club activities right now, so hurry up and come over. By the way, it was 8 p.m.
もしもし、今から部活の野戦ってのは却下だぞ。
じゃなくてその
It was Mion, but it was very un-Mion-like way of talking. Huh? Could it be?
ごめん、ひょっとしてミオンじゃなくてシオンか？
そうですどうもこんばんは夜分遅くにすみません
Okay. For Mion, this would have been an ill-fitting polite way of talking. But since it was Shion, well, it was natural. Even though they were both the same person. With a dry smile, I enjoyed that mysterious
い
feeling.
や別にいいよ。それより何の用だい？
ケイちゃんはケーキとかデザートとか
So,
甘い
like,
ものは好
okay,
きですか？
do we have, like, a girlfriend now? Like, that's what it feels like, you know? There was no way I hated them. I'm an unabashed glutton.
ならよかったです。実はですね、夏の新デザートコンテストってのがありまして。
Looks like they have a new dessert menu every season. So they were hiring taste testers for potential
エンジェルモ
desserts.
ートのデザートはかなり評判いいんですよ。モニターの募集もかなり倍率高いんです。
Oh my god. You're kind of the
そ
best.
れで担当直入な話。じゃーん。
じゃーんと言
Yeah,
うと
wait, yeah, I don't know what you're
見えないからわかんない
saying.
けど
そうです。そのモニターチケットがここにあるってわけ。
Yo.
もしも甘いものが嫌いじゃないならい
Yo.
かがですか？
いかがですかってつまりなんだよ。そのチケットで俺が新デザートを食い放題とそういうわけなのか？
They say to be aware of honey pots, but this is sweeter than any pot of honey. All you can eat free dessert? No way.
モニター当選者の末番に名
Hell
前を
yeah.
書いておきますね。明日お店に来たら係の者に名前を言ってください。
And we go there, we take a look, and everyone is filled with needles.
それで万事 OK ですから。
万事 OK ってそれで食べ放題なのか？無料なのか？
ええ、無料です。結構ありますから、お腹を空かせて
Oh
くる
my
ことを
God.
おすすめします。
It's a good thing we don't have diabetes. This was such a delectable opportunity, it was almost scary. This was really Shion, right? It wasn't Mion posing as Shion in order to bait me into a trap, was it? What am I saying? They're the same
はい、
person.
はい。ケイちゃんの考えてることは分かってますよ。こんな美味しい話があるわけ
Yeah,
ない
it
って思って
kind
る
of
で
does
しょ？
sound like it.
いやそんなことは全然。
お姉から聞いてますけど、つくづく嘘のつけない人なんですね。私、そういうの嫌いじゃない
Oh
です。
my god. Shion laughed with a voice that sounded a lot like how Mion would laugh.
下心ってわけじゃないんですけど、実は私、明日はちょっとバイトしたらすぐに終わりなんです。もしもご迷惑じゃなかったら、
Oh my
そ
god.
の後ちょっとご一緒してもらってもいいかなって思いまして。
Like, Riz?
明日のバイトは
Bro
終わっちゃうんだ。
Bro, you're being asked out on a date!
はい。だから、ケイちゃんがデザート食べながらのんびりしてるうちに終わっちゃうんです。
Like,
まあ俺も特に用事はないし
I don't know if bro's gonna put two and two together.
多少付き合うくらいなら構わないよ。
別にどこかに行くわけでもないです。夕涼みしながらお散歩でもできたら
Oh
な
my
って思っ
god.
てるだけですから。
There was no reason for me to refuse. Out of courtesy, I might as well take her up on her offer. Oh my god, you're so
そうい
stupid.
えば、ケイちゃんと私ってなんだか毎日会ってますよね。
Yeah?
言われてみればそうだな。
でも OK してもらえたおかげで、また明日も会える口実を作ることができました。
What was Mion saying?
ケイちゃん、なんだか声が裏返ってます。
Look, it just happens,
どう
okay?
したんでしょうね。
It wasn't a video phone, but she could tell I was beat
じゃあ
red.
明日、きっと来てくださいね。それじゃあこれで失礼します。おやすみなさい。
あ、おやすみ。
Shion finished with what she finished with what she had called to say, and the conversation without any chit-chat. When I returned to the living room after hanging up the phone, the TV was already off and my mom was sleeping in the rocking chair. Not feeling like turning the TV back on, I went upstairs and returned to my room.
俺シオンに世話になってばかりだよな。
She brought me a bento and saved me when I got involved with those thugs. She was supposed to be a different person, so I could thank Mion at school. Come to think of it, she probably just say she'll pass it on to her sister. I have to thank Shion directly. Tomorrow I'll have to repay her somehow. This is... Huh. Okay. We get any tips? Details of the Delinquent 3. It is we, the Delinquent 3! Mob mentality, get rescued. I like these achievements. Alright, let's learn about them.
で俺たちが逮捕されなきゃなんねんだろうな。知っとらってんじゃねえ。 話さんけこれ。クマちゃん、腕を離してあげていいですよ。さあさあさあ、どうぞおかげになって。
The three people rubbed their arms painfully. Kumagai-kun and the others must have been squeezing them pretty tightly.
お兄さんたち誤解しないでください。別に逮捕したわけじゃないんだから。クマちゃん、冷蔵庫から冷たいの出してあげてください。
Huh.
お兄さんたちは泡の出る麦茶と出ない麦茶どっちがいいです？ん？
They plunked down onto the reception sofa. Despite not yelling anymore, they still had dangerous expressions. What I'd give to be young
飲ま
again.
ないなら私勝手に飲んじゃいますよ。失礼して。
Don't like that noise.
勤務中に飲むビールが一番美味しいですね。
As he downed the beer with glee, the three people exchanged glances, then finally reached out for their cans. They had to stop being cautious. It's more like they didn't see a reason to refuse. They each opened their cans and began to drink the contents.
お兄さんたちはどっから来たんです？ここいらの人じゃないでしょう。
They looked at each other again, suspicious of whether they should tell
お兄
him.
さんたち大学生？お友達同士？バイクか何かで旅行中だったんでしょうかね。羨ましいな。家は近くってわけじゃないんでしょう。どっから来たの？大阪ですかな。
んなのどこでもいいだろ。
まあまあそう凄まないで。あのままいたらお兄さん方だってやばかったでしょ。
They seemed to recall the thrilling event from earlier. While they could understand getting around surrounded by students or a gang or something along those lines, they would never been surrounded by locals, both young and old, both men and women before. It was easy to imagine how scared they must have been.
ここいらの人間ならどんな間違いがあってもひなみ沢の人間には手出ししないですよ。
Huh.
子供の喧嘩に親は出てくるな、なんてもんじゃない。一人をいじめたら、それこそ村中が総出でやってきますよ。いや、ほんと、脅しでもなんでもなく。
They couldn't argue against that. They themselves had been surrounded. They'd seen it with their own eyes. There was no doubt
こ
about
こい
it.
らじゃねえ。ひなみ沢の人間に睨まれたら、あっさり鬼隠しにあって
Oh
消
my
えちまうん
god,
で
did
す。
that's interesting. Did we see these guys? Did we almost see what happens when they get demoned away?
跡形もなく忽然と。お兄さん方、行方不明になったら誰か捜索願いを出してくれるご家族はいます？いないならまずいな。蒸発扱いですよ。
Even then, we got there soon enough that nothing happened. If we'd been late, things could have taken a turn for the worse. If they'd been forced into an alleyway, these young men wouldn't be sitting on my couch right now. They might be lying on an autopsy table. Well, probably not. Anyway, perhaps they'd be a little more cooperative if we found them as corpses.
お兄さん方、沖宮へは何で来たの？電車？バイク？
バイク。
そりゃまずいな。さっきのとこにまだ止めっぱなしなんでしょ？あんたらのこのことバイクを取りに戻ったら、今度こそ袋叩きに遭いますよ。
なんだよそれ。上等じゃねえか。
Calm down, calm down. Why are young people these days so quick with the shouting?
あんたらももう面倒ごとはごめんでしょう。バイクのナンバー教えてください。ここまで持ってきてあげますから。クマちゃん、交通課対策にゲート車を借りてきてください。
別にいいよ。自分たちで取りに行くからいいって。
あんたら本気で囲まれたいんですか。今度は警察間に合わないかもしれませんよ。
大丈夫だっつったんだろ。囲み上等だ。
おい、お兄さん方、あんたら今泡の出る麦茶飲んだろ。エンジンかけてみろ。
Wait, what?
その場で飲酒取るぞ、これ。
whoa, my god, wait, this is a trap!
汚ねえ。
That is a trap!
警察が税金使って兄さん方のバイクを運びして死んぜよって言ってんだよ。ごちゃごちゃ言わねえで、ナンバー言えってんだこのクソバカ野郎。
The three were hesitant to tell him the numbers. They were mumbling something along the lines of not remembering them since they just bought the bikes. Huh. That's what I thought, huh?
クマちゃん、ゲート車に同行してバイク持ってきてあげて、ごつい赤いやつとテールランプの右側が割れたやつ、あとシートにガムテ貼ってあった白いやつ、それだろ、兄さんたちのバイク。
They didn't answer. Those must be the right
おい
ones.
さん、ゲート車来ましたんで行ってきます。
はいはい、よろしくお願いします。あとクマちゃん、ちょっと。
なんすか？
ナンバー紹介しといてください。間違ったバイクを持ってきちゃうと悪いから。
The three people's faces changed color. They made themselves very easy to understand. Are they stolen?
バイク持ってくるまでのんびりしてましょうよ。ビールもっとありますよ。乾き物だってありますし。テレビ見ます？ろくなのやってませんけどね。
いいよ、俺たちもう行くから。こんなとこにいつまでもいたくねえよ。
Suddenly, there were 5 or 6 huge officers surrounding them. Their clearly overpowering stares nailed them to the sofa.
なんだよ。俺たちが何かしたかよ。
Going on a trip by stealing motorcycles, huh? Students these days have too much time on their hands. Yeah. Okay. So they were bad guys. That's good. Cause at first I was like, you know, we were kind of in the wrong for knocking them over, but now that they're stolen, it's fine. Okay. I'd say my request for this, I love how it's all just blanks because I always save at the end of chapter. My request for the story to actually kind of pick up, we got it. I was worried when we started with the, oh, it's club activity time, but now, like, okay, story has restarted. It's not the mystery yet, but there's still, it's mystery adjacent at least, so I can enjoy that. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time for some more Let's Play Higurashi as we continue on with Watanagashi. I don't know how many chapters in this one. I'm going to assume it's going to be like 12 again. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time for some more. Ciao. Yo.